Now move on to another session. This one is on global capability centers that have become a significant part of India's service economy. Now over 1,600 GCCs operate in India, employing more than 1.5 million professionals and generating $46 billion in revenue in FY 23-24 based on a NASSCOM report.
Absolutely, Sumit. You're talking about how riveting the debate was. We've spoken about everything, I believe, at the India Economic Conclave. Day 2 has been full of feisty conversations, thoughtful sessions, and also the topmost policymakers of the nation all on one platform.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now, our next speaker will take us through how GCCs are the hidden gems of the service economy and why companies are expanding GCCs in India. That is definitely a very important topic, very pertinent topic also. Please join me in welcoming Prakash Pant, Senior Director, Head of GCC Practice at NTT Data, and he'll be in conversation with Sajit Mangat as they explore the capability of GCCs in India. Round of applause.
Hello. After good evening. What a riveting political session, still reeling from the impact. So hope you guys are settled in and have some different conversation. Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Pant, for joining in today. You are representing a GCC, and they are the biggest challenge for India's IT sector today in that sense. How are you as a sector growing compared to a traditional IT services company? Because the market sees you as one of the biggest challengers for them.
Right. So GCC, as a lot of people may be aware, but I'm just kind of expand this word. It's a buzzword everywhere. In LinkedIn, you see every new GCC opening in a city. It stands for Global Capability Center. So it's a pivot from outsourcing 20 years back, 30 years back, shared services, contact center, BPOs. They become captive centers of multinationals, and now they're becoming global capability center. Definitely, it's a growth vector for India as an economy, right? A lot of politicians on this dais were talking about growth as key agenda. So I think GCC is a net growth driver for Indian IT sector, and the net benefit is Indian economy and Indian people, all of us in this room and many other. There's a short-term sort of a, if not say conflict, but bit of a tug of war going between IT service provider and GCCs, because what they used to serve to them, they are now doing internally. But I see the long-term future is very, very positive for both of them. They can coexist.
How are they growing compared to the Indian IT services? If you look at the Indian IT services, they're growing at 5 to 7% annually. But my understanding is that GCCs are growing much more. You are representing entity data. How has entity data been growing?
So you're right. Basically, the growth factor is from two reasons, Ajit. One is that multinationals have realized that India is established firmly on global scene as a talent powerhouse, technology powerhouse. After the infrastructure wave that we've seen over the last decade, post-COVID has grown up, cloud has come in big way, collaboration in big way. So they have now started focusing on setting captive centers. The growth definitely is much higher, double digit than the IT services. So the CAGR for GCCs over the next 4-5 years is kind of positioned around 18%.
18%?
Yes.
So almost double in next 5 years, basically.
Absolutely. While the typical IT services business is growing near about 7-8% effectively. It will again pick up maybe a double-digit growth post, let's say, 2027. And I think somewhere they will come in a common ground. But GCC, because it's a new team and new concept, so to say, will go much faster.
No, if I'm not wrong, and correct me here, your total revenues from GCC is around $65 billion.
65 billion. Yeah.
How do you see this revenues growing in the next 3 to 5 years?
So it is positioned to become $100 billion industry by 2029, employing currently 1.9 million people to near about 3 million people. Spread from top 10 cities to, let's say, top 20 cities, tier 2 cities, which means expansion of technology and talent across the length and breadth of India. More localization of IT so that the cost base can go down, because India cost base is now eating up, and it has the risk of India as a model, viable model. So the multinational as well as IT service providers like Entity Data and many others have to go to tier 2 cities. But I think overall, it will actually create a net new job scene and the R&D pivot for entire industry.
That's interesting that you spoke about the R&D part of it. Because you are a global capability center for many of the captives like JP Morgan or Goldman Sachs or any other company which is looking at developing through a captive, arm setup in India. What is the kind of transition that GCCs have also done over the last few years from in terms of the kind of work they have been doing, in terms of the scalability, and how do you see the role of GCCs going forward?
Right. So 2 or 3 questions, so maybe one by one. First is large financial institutions, banking institutions, global banks, right? Goldman Sachs. Today, JP Morgan is a big setup. You heard of the Brookfield is investing about $1 billion.
One of the largest GCCs in India.
In India, 3 million square feet, single facility in Powai for a large US bank. So you will see banking, financial services, insurance, large process-driven organizations or businesses will use India as a talent base to reduce costs, to grow their business. So it's going to. So basically, I'll give an example. It's a real estate boom, not only for us in commercial real estate, but it's a real estate boom for GCCs as well. Right? Mr. Revant Reddy is a big hero these days. He opens a GCC every week in Hyderabad. So policymakers, state chief ministers, as well as administrators have decided that they're going to go to GCC way for 2 factors. One, to give net employment to their people in the same state, to call them back from these large 8-9 cities which are bustling with infrastructure issues and pollution issues. So why would not somebody go to Coimbatore and Mangalore, whether he was working in Bangalore or Chennai, right? So which means reverse migration from top 9 cities to their own hometown, which actually happened during COVID. It is a perfect example for a GC to have a distributed delivery model. So net new state-of-the-art campuses, digital campuses, is a $12 billion opportunity only in physical infrastructure. Let's say Brookfield, CBRE, DLF, right? Mantris, Prestige, Shobha, Lodhas. These are the guys who are coming in and building large commercial campuses. Then $10 billion, more or less, would be on IT infrastructure, data center backbone. There's a whole data center revolution happening today in India, right? And we have 20 data centers in India, Entity Data. Adani is building a big data center with Airtel. The 3 hyperscalers are setting their own data center. So you're going to have physical, digital backbone under Digital India stack. That's going to really grow this to next level. It's a very exciting time to be in this space.
Initially when, some of the large Fortune 500 companies are setting up GCCs in India, it's also a factor of cost, because it's much more cheaper to set up GCCs in India for work rather than outsourcing it to a IT services company, or it could be either onshore or offshore, whatever in that sense. But over a period of time, there is a cost escalation which comes into play here. At what point in time does it make sense for global companies to say that, okay, now we'll sell off or hive off those GCCs to other IT companies? And you've been acquiring some of those GCCs as well.
No, that's an interesting trend. So typically any market goes through hype cycles, right? This is the hype cycle that every multinational wants to give people their own brands. So you don't work for X IT company, you work for Goldman Sachs. You work for, let's say, Nomura, or so and so forth. So that trend will grow. It's about people's choice whether they want to work for a GCC or a third party who's serving GCC. However, of course, there are higher salaries, higher compensation packages, better work life. But that doesn't mean that the opportunity for IT service providers has gone down. It's on the contrary, whatever you've seen in India is only 10 to 12% total global demand is going to come to India. So, for example, you're a Japanese company. Japanese multinational are setting big GCCs in Noida, in Gurgaon, in Manisa. And they're co-locating their manufacturing facilities with their R&D facilities, GCC facilities. So, My view is that mission critical, top and high quality work will happen in GCCs, and the scale will happen through service providers. So capacity to innovation. If GCCs are playing a capacity game, they are going to be having same cost bubble that their counterparts are going to be. And one day headquarters say, it becomes cheaper for me to serve it through third party rather than doing in-house. Typical cost, right? Buy versus make. However, if they focus on top talent, R&D, digital engineering, product engineering, hardware engineering, then they look at top talent, 10%, 15% from the pyramid, and the 80% goes down to service providers. And that's the right model to survive and grow.
How easy is it to get talent? Because if I'm not wrong, you've been able to scale up your manpower by nearly 5x in 5 years, if I'm not wrong. So how easy it is to get that talent which will look at advanced R&D and services for your parent or various.
So it is not easy. Definitely, talent is like you are in a sea and you can't drink any water of it. So basically, there is a conundrum in Indian, economy today that there are a lot of availability but less employability, and that is the problem of every organization in every state, right? So if you have to address this problem, it can be done by two ways. Is that, and I was speaking right back to the room, that what AI has done, AI has scared people that AI can take a job. In short term, they may be right. But AI actually going to change the game for India talent from two ways. And it's the future, I'm saying. Today, what has happened in the world cinema? You look at Netflix today. It is a global bazaar of entire global cinema. You can appreciate a Turkish movie, an Indian movie, and a Japanese movie in the same genre. Because there is dubbing happening through AI, which converts the local language to English language. So today, people are addressing as a skill gap from a human, but tomorrow, same human sitting in Maharashtra or Tamil Nadu or Uttarakhand will actually connect with the world through an AI model where he can translate his native language to an AI-ready English language. So I see that language barrier will be broken through AI, and India will become a net job generator. Because generally you have good engineers, you have good doctors, you have good actuarials, you have good data scientists. They just can't speak fluent English. So if somebody go to Chennai for a back office and does a contact center for Gurgaon because of mother tongue influence. But if you bring AI, a Chennai can also address a language issue. So I think it is going to be a seismic shift through AI-generated language models.
How much of work are GCCs doing on AI? Because if you look at Indian IT services company, there is a narrative that they're not doing enough of AI linked IT services. When it comes to GCC, and because you are connected directly to the parent, how much of that would be AI? Is there more of an R&D and experimentation, or there is whatever it is there, it's within the box and not out of the box?
Right. So AI is the flavor of the season where cloud was 10 years back. Everybody has to talk AI. In the IT services business and GCC space, it is a very serious concept. It is a key enabler to, one, reduce cost, do a faster go-to-market, and then third, rationalize your IT systems for better productivity and efficiency. And AI is more like a horizontal rather than a vertical. It is there in your business process, is there in your back office, customer processes, and your core IT. So agentic, which is where the agent bots and the agents that's coming into your process are actually disrupting the way you develop software. A software lifecycle which was 3 months is coming down to 3 days just because of SDLC lifecycle through AI chatbot. The whole game is changing. So GCCs are actually addressing the skill gap through AI largely, which probably IT services provider may do it later. For them, AI is a innovation tool rather than a productivity or a capacity tool. So that's why if a cyber AI, we're talking about cyber is becoming a very interesting situation for GCCs, both from securing the global products, but also leveraging India talent base, right? So cyber observability, SOC as a service, agentic AI, threat analytics, advanced profiling of threats is happening through AI. We have to look at the millions of data points. A human cannot analyze it in a very short period of time. An AI engine can do that.
How much is localization also playing a big role of many of the companies now setting up the GCCs in India? Because from an AI point of view, it's a big market to test their LLMs, and also from a point of view of the data has to remain in India, so the scale up also has to happen here.
So it's very exciting time for Indian industry. We ourselves collaborate with IITs and NITs. We have a program with Indian Institute of Science, Bangalore, IIT Mumbai, and IIT Madras. And we are actually looking at leveraging Indian ecosystem, startup ecosystem, right? India stack, the Jam stack, the Aadhaar stack. They are fantastic, right? The COVID platform has seen resilience because of the millions of data points you get on a very continuous basis. So it's a very robust system. So India AI has come of age. I think India AI modules, including the India chip module now, right? The full-scale chip modules are coming in, and the GPU as a service model coming in, is going to really benefit the IT world, including GCCs. So when we hire a person, we also hire a capability, but we also work with a lot of startup ecosystem, SaaS vendors and SaaS providers who are working on specialized use cases in AI.
You know, when we talk of IT services, and because we're seeing it gets a bigger narrative as compared to GCCs, because many of them are listed in the country, and they talk about how challenges are there, how the India-US trade is also creating some challenges for them. How do you see GCCs navigating that challenge?
Right. Well, interesting point. So we have traditionally seen North America as a bread and butter country, and it's okay. Everybody had an American dream. All of us went to US, stayed there, came back. And it continues to remain a key market because America is a net spender on technology, right? And their businesses are going through transformation. However, it's not the end of the world, right? It could address probably 20-25% of the entire demand, but 75% going to come from new markets: Asia, Japan, Taiwan, Singapore, Malaysia. And it's not about cost arbitrage, it's about product development, right? So if a Tokyo Electron is going to set up a large factory in Noida, and they're going to develop a big chipset venture between Tata Electronics Limited, they're talking to us to set up the R&D GCC in India. Middle East, they have looked at India from a distance, but they are now increasingly setting up Aramco, right? Mobile, right? Emirates, they are setting large GCCs, right? Nordic countries, right? Sweden, Scandinavia, Denmark. So traditionally they had a trust issue in India, one because of very unstable political environment, which thanks to last 11 years is very, very stable. Lack of effective network and digital backbone. So after the whole Geo rollout and the whole 5G rollout, that's addressed. And now data center boom that is happening in India, huge data center boom. These three vectors are allowing multinationals to look at India as a viable GCC option, but also as a market itself.
And are they the biggest seekers of H-1B visas as well, the GCCs?
So definitely they have their own set of quota. If I'm a global multinational, I have to send 100 engineers who get trained in Silicon Valley. I would want to have 100 H-1B for them, or maybe business visas, for example. But I may not want to put them in US for next 5 years, 6 years, right? So that H-1B visa issue actually worked to India's advantage, right? Whatever President Trump would say. It has pivoted the need for reverse brain drain, right? So look at a Gurgaon, few kilometers from here, or Noida, or let's say Bangalore or Hyderabad, are as scalable as a New York City or a Sydney or Melbourne, barring pollution, barring some infrastructure. We'll address that. But in terms of scale of innovation, lifestyle, and the talent, it is world class. It is better than those countries. Which means reverse brain drain, a lot of top talent who went there coming back, setting up GCCs or taking leadership positions because they are multinational companies setting their India operation. So net to net, it's a very, very positive for our people and our youngsters.
You know, GCCs have been there, they've been evolving for last 15 years at least.
30 years.
30 years. You know, I remember many of the IT companies acquiring some of the GCCs to scale up their operations. But today, there's a transition there that's happening, right? GCC is becoming a global innovation center as well. How do you look at those transition, and when, as and when, you know, do you see that this transition can bring in the domestic IT services industry in collaborative mode?
Very important question. What BPO industry did to this country is two things. It actually kind of initiated the IT counterparts to go to process side, to come to domain from typical code development. It also created new markets for multiple services. But we were actually seen as a more an outsourcing delivery destination for the globe, back office of the world. And it's a good image to have, but we've never seen a product innovation team, right? IT service companies were getting flagged that what is your R&D budget, right? Infosys, a TCS, a Wipro. So, let's say ND Data, we have put a research center in Bangalore. We were doing next generation photonic research, right? On next networks, right? Blockchain, quantum computing, high performance computing, advanced AI generative models, right? So, the good story is that GCC is setting up innovation centers, R&D labs, 5G labs, right? Agentic AI labs, right? Chatbot labs would actually drive innovation in Indian businesses as well, because they're also learning from them. A lot of talent which is running GCCs is going and joining Indian conglomerates, right? So today, an Adani is setting a GCC in Bangalore, right? An ABG Group is setting a GCC in Mumbai. GCC is about consolidating all your group operation under one roof and cross-pollinating functional understanding. And then the development that they do in that particular unit can also be sold in the markets, in India market.
From a global standpoint, sir, if you can give us a sense of the IT spends which are coming in. Every year we hear about $800 billion of spends coming in. How much of that spend will now go directly to GCC as compared to other traditional IT services companies?
No, I think that's an interesting question. So Gartner sees FY26 calendar year, $872 billion IT spend across the globe, global. Out of which near about $250 billion is infrastructure, core infrastructure, which will be localized. Because you can't have a cloud on the cloud, right? You have a data center in India. You have to have a physical campus in India, because you have to people there. So that is going to come, near about 30% will come to India, right? Then there is a people part of it, right? So GCCs may carve out certain budget for their own teams, or they may reverse source from the third parties, but they're also building net new capacities. However, this game can be won jointly by both the players, providers as well as GCC operators. By, again, taking back capacity versus innovation. So let's say R&D budgets will go up. Out of, say, $100, $60 will go to R&D. Because they are actually going to leverage India talent base. Right? And they can create a IP faster within their own group because it is within the same family. A third-party IP may take time to adopt. However, startup ecosystem in India are growing very, very fast. So if you have a product in fintech, for example, which Indian startup has created, and he has a demand for a global markets in North America, GC will pick up that product and then bundle it with a broader use case. So our sort of a co-creation model is also very fast gaining concept in GCCs.
So finally, it basically means that you're going to see a lot of investments coming in because GCCs are going to set up. So a part of IT spend on talent, training, reskilling. These are the things which are going to come in here.
Absolutely. I'll give you an example. When BT launched their 1 gig high-speed broadband network for Ireland and UK, because I was part of the team, the entire concept to design and the prototype was developed in the Bangalore lab. It was actually 8 years back. The next generation chipset for a Taiwanese manufacturer is happening from the GCC in Chennai. Right? So, the next generation aircraft engine prototype of a large US aircraft engine maker is happening from Bangalore.
You're talking about Boeing, yeah.
Absolutely. So it is not that it is not happening. It is that it is coming in media now. But GCCs were doing very, very covert work. Is it because of the sort of IP they were involved, they were not talking about it in media, but they were doing that work much longer.
Mr. Pant, it was a pleasure talking to you today. Thank
Same
you.
here. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for that, Mr. Pant, and thank you, Sajid, for that enlightening session.